Moving into streaming, though, this was a movie that kind of had a limited run. It was at some film festivals. Zach got to see it in Toronto, so he kind of got me ready to be like, "Yo, this isn't Apples," which was his pick of the week last week. This is Fingernails, a movie, as we were saying earlier, about this test that can determine how much you love a person percentage wise, I guess, but it won't tell you
It's
also who loves who
it's
more
like
than the other.
a compatibility test, but it's done by removing and testing your
Your
fingernails.
fingernails, but you can also like later on remove a fingernail years later and get a second test.
Yeah, it's like if you're in love with the person right now. It's not like a compatibility as much as it is like how are you feeling right now if you can't
Oh,
figure it out for yourself.
what? I'm sorry, but that's like the Mean Girls meme. I think there's 50% chance that it's already raining. Like
Right.
I that was ridiculous. Great cast. Jessie Buckley, always fantastic in everything that she's in. You could tell she's working with things that the movie's not even trying to address, especially when they got close-ups of her face. Riz Ahmed is good. I'm starting to wonder if like Riz Ahmed is always doing too much in the movies that he's in, and even Jeremy Allen White, one of the most subdued ones. And I really felt every scene that he was in because this is a man who's just trying to work, just trying to get things done, and he's like questioning his partner who says she's going to get a job in teaching, but in reality she ends up keeping a lot of secrets from him, and he's always like not just questioning their relationship, but like questioning like what are they both bringing into that household. Right off the bat, I just didn't believe the whole process of the fingernails. I thought it
Yeah.
was the dumbest thing. We've been talking about this director being it's derogatory to say, uh, what's his name, Junior.
Yorgos Lanthimos. Yeah,
He's
because
worked with him.
he's worked with them. He's also a Greek director. Both of their films have this kind of wry approach to interrogating social structures.
There was a lot of sensibilities that they share.
Yeah.
And now it's being a little detrimental because apples was something different. Fingernails feels like someone saw the lobster and went, how can I make that a little bit more real? And while it is more real, I believe the lobster, where you're gonna turn into a freaking animal if you don't find a
Yeah.
partner, way more than I did this fingernails thing. Why does anyone believe in this? I
Yeah.
like I didn't understand. There's so many mistakes this thing does. Like even on the business perspective, when they're because it's what one of the Owen brothers, if I'm not mistaken,
Luke Wilson. Yeah.
like wouldn't his whole outlet be like we don't want
Owen
competitors,
brothers.
but he's like no, these competitors are helping out. I said one of the Owen brothers, yeah, Wilson
Yeah.
brothers. They sound so much alike. There was one point where you just hear his voice and I'm like wow.
Loki.
um Stop, bro. But like for real, he's the one running this business, and
Yeah.
wouldn't it be in your best interest to like not have failures because then people won't want to believe in this? Severance, I think, is a world again another Apple show that really built out this universe and where you're like, okay, I can see why. People are falling for this and how they were even able to build up this world with the tech company that it is, and even was showcasing people who like were against it and what may be building on the outside of the Severance world. Here it was like, yeah, I don't really agree with it. I'm like, yo, this is like shaping people's lives. This is the rotten tomatoes of love for people. I don't know. I just did not believe the process of
Yeah.
them putting this together, and I think that's why I couldn't follow along with it early on. Not
Yeah.
bad, just I did not fulfill it for me.
Josh in the live stream said, "Did you think the concept was confusing? I found some holes in the reasoning." I don't know if it's so much that it's confusing in that I think that the film sort of establishes some logic and then doesn't follow its own logic, right?
Yeah,
Like in Gremlins, they say you don't feed them after midnight. And it's a little bit like the movie was like, let's just feed them after midnight anyway. It might be more interesting.
yeah,
I think you either establish very sort of like strict rules for your world to be in, or you kind of have to abandon them because like what you're left with is sort of this like half in, half out, unsatisfying thing that doesn't really make sense. And like the fingernail aspect of it, like he said he was inspired by swiping on a phone, going on Tinder and using your fingernail essentially to say yes or no to different potential
Oh,
love
no
interests.
way.
It's an interesting idea, but like I just don't. I think the way that the movie actually handles the fingernail aspect of it is like not. It's not fully in. It doesn't like. I don't know if the movie knows what they want you to think about the fingernails, right?
Yeah. if you're going off of that, that's a good log line, that it's based off of the swiping. But at that point, just go see that Black Mirror episode. That got it down
Yeah.
pat in terms of really having it be something on your phone that deals with algorithms. Maybe it's because I'm just so anti algorithms that I didn't understand why people were like, I don't know, for this. They built something where it's supposed to spawn these really intimate moments with people. Thank you.
Hmm.
And because I couldn't believe it, I couldn't believe their intimate moments. I feel that they would have been questioning it in so many ways. There's one scene where the machine messes up, right? And they like zoom out and it's a gay couple and I'm like, wow, hey, what are they doing in this movie? And they just never got into pockets of like even in the task they do these like almost trust falls and like sniffing and zapping yourself to really make yourself be conditioned to
Yeah.
loving the person, feeling pain when they're gone. And I'm like, this is getting into a completely different territory than even a compatibility test.
Hmm.
Yeah, it felt like it wanted to be multiple things at once. And I don't know, it
Yeah.
really stinks.
And some of that stuff in particular, I thought was really interesting and funny, and sort of like they're trying to almost like instill Pavlovian responses of love
Yeah.
in people. Like that is really cool, but then it sort of stays there for a while. I found myself really enjoying this one, and then just enjoying it less and less until I felt like I didn't enjoy it at all. And I don't
Yeah.
know if you agree with me in that there's like a couple moments where it really feels like they could have just ended the movie like 30 minutes earlier, 15 minutes earlier, 5 minutes earlier, and it would have essentially felt like the same thing.
Yeah, you guys had told me this early on, and I was just like, ah, man, I maybe there could be more. I had seen the trailer last week, and I was like, oh, this is an interesting trailer. It's giving me a little bit more of the world, and I could not. It looks pretty. I don't know what they shot it in, but there was a lot of like, film grain that would just pop up on the screen digitally. Um, but I just wanted it to be more. I'm curious to know people's thoughts on Fingernails. It's playing over on Apple TV Plus.
Yeah.
Not a bad movie. Just
Still still interested in what Christos Nikou wants to do next.
yeah, we're like 60% on like compatibility if we were to if we were to mesh it there.